Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the good old saw shop on the prairie. Having a good day today. I'm getting lots of stuff accomplished. Weather's still not where I'd like it to be, so I'm hiding away in the shop. Got the shop 80% sorted. I need to do one more dump run, but that's a job for next week. Our dumps only open on Saturdays on wintertime hours, which is what we're on right now. So next Saturday, I'll do one more dump run with the F250, and I think I'll have this sorted out. I just have too much stuff in here, friends, and it was like, it's time. I got to clean this thing up. A couple of you guys, that's my heater, friends. I shut it off. Couple of you guys mentioned that you're glad you're not the only one that rearranges your shop. No, I do it quite regularly. I just get so much stuff piled in here that it gets a little out of hand. So I'm liking where the shop is right now. I got both my toolboxes right here. I'm even thinking, friends, I might buy another toolbox. I need another big toolbox. Part of the problems with the box I have is it's full, like absolutely full. And I have way more tools than I have storage for. So, been watching the auctions, friends. I'll find something that suits my needs. Anyhow, today's video, since I got the shop kind of where I can get it for this week, I want to keep working on the P42. I boxed up the whole thing before I started cleaning my shop. Well, I've unboxed it and I have it back here ready to go. Today's video, let's check the Squish. I don't know where these things line up, especially with this piston. You guys know, if you go back, I had to grind on that piston even to get it into the saw. So I'm not 100% sure where the Squish is going to line up on this. I may have to do some machine work to correct it. And also timing. I have no idea where the timing is on this saw. So let's get in close and let's time this saw and check the Squish. Now let me tell you, friends, this flywheel, wow, it took me half an hour, 45 minutes to get this thing off. I tried the usual way where you gently put a screwdriver behind and give the end of the crankshaft a whack. That didn't work. I tried heating it and giving it a whack. That didn't work. I tried one puller that I have and I couldn't get enough leverage on this thing to get it to come off. So I used a steering wheel puller and a couple of long bolts and washers, and yeah, friends, tightened this up with my impact and then gave the end of it a good whack with this mallet, one of those, and it finally came off. So I'd say that's never been off. And I took the clutch off. Clutches are nice on these. They're held on by a nut and they're actually splined on to the end of the crankshaft, so they slide off easy. One note, this saw has an 8-pin sprocket on it, so these things got the power. They're not a high revving saw, but they have a lot of power. They will run an 8-pin sprocket, so they're definitely a nice saw. Couple other notes. I noticed a couple of the AV mounts are broken on this saw. They're screwed in, but the rubber came off. Good thing I have spares, so I'm gonna have to extract the AV mount that's on this side. It's busted. Just the mount is screwed in. Hopefully it's not too tight. Hopefully, I mean, worst comes to worst, friends, if I can't get anything on it, I'll weld a nut to it. I'll grind it in there, I'll weld a nut to it, and then I'll unscrew it with a ratchet on the nut that I weld. But anyways, these old saws, friends, you got to work for it. And this one's in great shape, but even this thing has a few issues. I like to lock my pistons out with, a piece of rope. I melt the ends with a lighter, stuff that in the hole for the spark plug, and then that'll stop my piston from rotating, when you're taking nuts off and things like that. So I forgot to do that when I was disassembling the saw. Anyway, let's get in close. I got the timing wheel more or less zeroed. It's not 100% zeroed. We'll zero it on camera. And let's get you guys in close and let's time this power saw. I can't wait. Okay, guys, got you guys in here. So I'm going to screw in my piston stop. Again, if you don't have one of these, you can stick a screwdriver in there. As long as you can hold it straight. Now, all I did was I spun it around until I eyeballed it at top dead center, and then I made my pointer, which comes from the other side, line up with what I was seeing, and that should get me close. Now, the way to re-zero it, and I set you guys up so that you can see 55, 56 degrees. This is just a piece of welding rod that I cut to a point. Okay, 56 degrees that way. And it should be 56 degrees this way. It is not, okay? It is 55, 6, 7, 58 and a half. Okay, so the difference between 56 and 58 and a half is, I need to move this about 1 and a bit degrees, so. Okay, now, this is tight, but it's loose enough that I can spin it. Okay, so we're at about 55, 56, 55, 6, 7, and a hair. Let's see where we're at on this side now. 55, 6, 7, like bang on. We'll go back this way. Just going to move it back just a hair. That may have been too far. Okay, we're going to call that zeroed. It's darn close, friends. It's good enough. Okay. 57 in both directions, you know it's zeroed. Okay, now top dead center is top dead center. Okay, that's how you zero your degree wheel. And again, just eyeball it to top dead center. Look through the exhaust port, eyeball it, bend your rod that it shows top dead center where your eye says it is, and then you'll be a couple degrees off. And you guys can see I got it within a couple degrees. Now, you have to double check, because if you don't, you're going to have no way of knowing if your timing wheel is zeroed or not. However you do it works. I've seen guys do this all different kinds of ways. However you read your wheel, as long as you can recreate it, and however you zero your timing wheel, as long as you can get it bang on, I don't care how you do it. Use a screwdriver, use a timing stop. It doesn't matter, friends, okay? I'm not that guy. Okay, so we got this thing zeroed now. I put a nut on the back side of the crankshaft, and I put a socket on there and a ratchet. Now what we're going to do right here, I'm going to take a piece of solder. Okay, I'm going to cut the end off. Let's check the squish. You can check it front and back, side to side. You can check it one spot, however you want to check it. Again, I've done it in one spot, two spot, side to side. I hit my pointer there, but I'm not worried, friends. I didn't bend it. I've checked squish all different ways. I've never had one tap. I've never had a problem. So, again, to each their own. How you do this, do it whatever way works for you. Okay, now my nut here is not tight enough. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to go around a couple times. Kind of see where our squish is at of my caliper here. Inch. There we go. You can see it's a little off. We're going to zero it. I keep hitting my pointers, so I'm thinking, friends, I may recheck it after. Okay. 34 thousandths with no base gasket. Not horrible. We could put this thing in the lathe and lower it 35. It should get a little tighter as you get closer to the edge. See, 33 and a half. So we're gonna call this 33 and a half squish. Not horrible. Now, when I put assembly silicone, we'll be at 35 and a half. So I may want to do machine work to the saw, but I may not. Let's see what the timing numbers tell us. Okay, I wrote down our findings. Now, remember something. I hit my timing pointer here. Let's go back. and see where are we at. Oh, look at that. We're at 58. Are we at 58 on the other side? No, we're at 56. So look at that, friends. Our timing is now off. Good thing I rechecked it. Now we know it needs to go right around 57. So put it back to 57 and 57. It's just a little bit past there. Okay, we're going to call that good. So remember, if you bonk it, you may have put it out of adjustment. It's all in the details, friends. If you want to recreate your work and you want your work to be good, you gotta take your time with this kind of stuff. Okay, now we got our timing wheel set up. I'm gonna spin this thing around. Okay, turn my lights off. I got this light right here that we can probably, this thing right here, this is a rechargeable light that I use at work. I don't know if you guys can see. Okay, so you can see the piston. I'm gonna get you guys closer. Okay, you guys are up close now. Again, here is our exhaust port. Now this one, I'm gonna have to move you guys down. We're not going to do the first ray of light on this one. We are going to do when can we see light. I'll focus you guys right on there. Okay. There's several ways to do this. Because the exhaust port is so shallow on this and the shape of it, we can't do first ray of light. Okay. We basically are just going to look at it, and I'm going to come down low here. Okay. Up. Piston's coming down, down, down. Now, I can just see past it. I can just see a little crack of light. You guys probably aren't going to be able to pick that up. But there is. And I'm going to pause you again and make you go even lower. There you guys go. Do you see that little crack of light there? Focus you guys in. Okay, open. Closed. So I'm going to time it just when I can see that little crack of light. And now I'll spin you guys around. Okay, and what do we see? 100, 1, 2, 3 after top dead center. Okay, now I'm going to do that again. I'm going to get behind here. Okay, I'm going to spin it around. You guys watch the wheel and I'll call it as I see it opening. Closed. Piston's moving down. Right about there. What do you guys see? 103 after top dead center. Let's do it one more time. Always do it 3 times. Down, up, piston's moving down, down, down. Should open right about there. What do we see? 103 after top dead center. Well, we know we did it 3 times. It hasn't changed. We know that that's probably the legit number. After top dead center. I'm writing notes as we do this. Okay, friends, let's do the exhaust port, and that's it. There's no intake timing on this because it's a reed saw. Okay, now I have you flipped around. Zoom you guys right in here. Now, you should be able to see, with the light in here, where do the transfers open? They open about right there. Can you guys see that? Let's see, what are we seeing? There's the transfers, okay? Now, what I usually do is I look through the exhaust port. They open right there, okay? Spin you guys around. Here's the timing wheel. Now, I'm going to double, triple check, okay? These are easy to see. They're big. They're right there. It's not hard to time this one. It's hard to see from the top, but I'm seeing about 120, 121. Now, I'm not going to use that as my number because I'm not sure. Let's check. Okay, and because we're having a hard time timing it, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to try and not bump my pointer. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Okay. I'm going to move it back in the stroke. Here we go this way till we're at bottom dead center. I'm going to take these screws out. Okay. Slide this off. Now, one fun thing about Pioneers is you got to take the screws all the way out. See if I can do this on film. What ends up happening is if you don't take the screws all the way out, you can't pull the cylinder past the, what was I saying, friends? You can't pull the cylinder past the base here, okay? Now all I'm going to do, I'm going to take this, I'm going to stuff a ring in here with the opening to the ring on the intake side. Remember, there's no intake port on this. Okay, I'm just going to stick it in there like that. Okay, now I'm going to slide this back down on top of the piston. Because the piston's at bottom dead center, we don't have to worry about the ring being in the wrong spot. Okay, now all I'm going to do is cinch this back down. And again, we have not touched the timing marker. It's one problem with attaching your timing marker to the cylinder. Oh, and I did hit it. We should be good though, friends. We're still at 180, and that's where we were at when we took the cylinder off. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll spin you guys back around here. Bring you back in. Okay, you can see we're at bottom dead center. Now, I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see. There we go. Oh, there it is. Beauty. Look at this. You guys are going to be able to see it good. Okay, now what you're seeing is there's a ring. Can you see the ring in there, friends? There it is. You can see it at the back probably. Okay, now all I'm going to do is move this up till I think the piston is at, okay, right there. Now I'm going to look at the timing wheel from the back. I see about 122, 123. Okay. Now let's back this out. I'll show you guys in real time. Turn all the lights back on so you guys can see what's going on. This will help me know exactly what I'm seeing. Fairly long blowdown for a 60-something cc saw that's this old. Kind of interesting, isn't it? Okay, and again, I'm getting fought on there. Okay, now what do we have here, friends? Can you guys see that? Okay, the ring is exactly lined up with the tops of the transfers. So, there you go. See that? Beauty. God, this camera's great on this phone. Okay, so we know 100% that our transfers open at 123, and that's what I saw on the timing wheel. Okay, well, this thing timed pretty much how I thought it was going to, but I had to check, right? So our squish is 33.5 thousandths at the tightest. I measured it in a couple places off camera. That's where it's at. My exhaust is 103 after top dead center, and my transfers are 123 after top dead center. So that means we have 20 degrees of blowdown. Okay, not bad. A lot of times these old style saws would have like 15 degrees. If you're talking old Poulins, McCulloughs, Home Lights, they open their transfers super, super early. Which is kind of interesting. That's just the way they did it in the old days. Then as the modern era in the 80s, late 80s and 90s, they started to have a little bit longer blowdowns. Now they've gone back to short blowdown. And I've done videos many times about blowdown. Remember, friends, where your transfers open affects your intake. think about it. When your piston is moving up to draw vacuum, it will draw vacuum after the upper transfers are covered by the piston. If the transfers are open and it's drawing up, you may get some vacuum. You may pull some of that unspent fuel and air in, but often you won't have as much suction on your intake. So remember that, friends. It all matters. It all comes together, and every saw is going to be different. What you do to one saw might not work on another. The more saws you port, the more you start to understand that, hey, these things react differently to different changes, and they all do, friends. It just depends on the saw. Now, this is a reed saw. What does that mean? Well, realistically, a reed saw has 180 degrees of intake timing, which is an intake timing that a piston ported saw, more often than not, will not run at. Now, it doesn't have 180 degrees of intake timing, and that's because of dwell. Okay, there's 4 or 5 degrees at the top and the bottom where the piston is not moving. So you may have 10 degrees of dwell top and bottom where the piston's not moving, which means you may only have 160 degrees or 170 degrees of intake timing. Still more than a saw usually wants to run at. That's why these reed ported saws are incredible ported, because they're so strong. We'll have to wait and see. And you guys know the Iron Horse is the king of the pioneers. He's built some highlight reel saws, and hopefully I can follow in what follow off of what he's done. I don't know what he done to those saws, friends, but I know they're absolute monsters, and I've always wanted to do one, and this will be the first one I've done. So anyhow, friends, post a comment below. 35, 34 thou squish, 103 exhaust, 123 transfers. What would you do with this saw? I know what I'm probably going to do, but again, what would you guys do with this saw? Next video, friends, let's decide what we're doing. I'm going to do a whole bunch of work to this piston. I'm going to smooth it out, lighten it, get rid of any sharp edges, and just make this thing a little bit happier. And I think what we're going to do with this piston is drill a bunch of holes in it. Speed holes, friends, speed holes. I'm not kidding. I'm definitely going to drill some holes in this piston and make sure it stays cool. And then we'll port the saw, friends, and then we'll slap it back together after we make a randy dandy exhaust for this thing. This saw definitely is just, this saw needs to be piped, friends. Let's be honest. Anyhow, thanks for hanging out. Post a comment below. What would you do to this saw? I'm not going to make up my mind until you guys comment. Thanks for watching. Take her easy. Later.